Okay, this video is to demonstrate the organizations feature of the InLoco Parentis software. Organizations are any organizations that you deal with that might be relevant to your access and use of the software. So for example, if you have agents and you use agencies, or if you have competitors, or if you have use of the British Council facilities, then you might want to put their details in here. So I can add an organization by clicking here, which is add new organization, and I can type in the name. So I'm going to create a tutoring organization. And I can type in the telephone number, the alternative telephone number, and email address, and so forth, and even put an address marker in it if I want to. If I want to change the status, as usual, I click on the status here, and I can say what statuses they are. You use the statuses are set in preferences, statuses and tags, and then organizations, which is here. For tags and here for statuses. Those are easy to set up, and you can set up whichever statuses you need. If I go back to organizations now, within organizations, I can either have a single branch organization, so this would be a single branch setting here, or if I press this plus, I can add a new branch. And if I add a new branch, the original branch gets called main, so I'm going to add a branch called Palau branch, and I'm going to add this new branch, and I'm going to call it Hong Kong branch. Okay, so if I save that, this has now created an organization with two branches, and I can have personnel in either of those branches. So in the Hong Kong branch, I'm going to go to the Personnel tab, and I'm actually going to create a new person associated with this particular branch of this organization by pressing this Create New User, and this works in the standard manner. So I could create their contact details, and if I wanted to put in their telephone numbers and so forth, so I could add phone numbers, emails, as usual. And it will check those phone numbers, or if I put in a Hong Kong number, it would check that that was a Hong Kong number as well. Let me try that. And hopefully it should recognize that as a Hong Kong telephone number. Okay, once you have data in there, you can use all the standard fields associated with that. So you have, for example, documents that are associated with that user. That's probably less useful on agents. You can have notes associated with that user, journal as usual, and resources and so forth that they would see, and files. There is a filing system for that user as well. So all that. Now, if I want to associate a particular agent with a student, then I would go to the students tag and I would add, so for example, with John down the bottom here, if I go to his team, I can set up a team member who is going to be, if I type in Hamilton, it will find him, and I'm going to set him up as in the role of agent. These roles are all definable in the preferences page as usual. If I go back to organizations now, you can see that James Hamilton has a student associated with him. So I can now see that the student is there, and I can also see what information James Hamilton is going to get about that student. And in this particular case, the default here, again, these can be set up in preferences, is that that agent can add a translation for this particular student's communications. We probably wouldn't allow him to get anything else, although maybe he's allowed to see the schedule of the students' movements as well. If I want to add an existing person into a particular organization, then I click on this one, and this is a person who would originally have been created in the community. So if we look, for example, here, we have someone called Martin Richards who isn't in any organization at the moment. The organization appears down here. If I go back to the organization and I click on the hollow add, and then I take that person's name and I add them, then I can tick that and save that, and Martin Richards is now part of the Hong Kong branch of this tutoring organization, and you can see the organization and the branch information here. And again, if I was to click here, if I was on the community tab, it would take me to the organizations page immediately. So it's quite useful for being able to see which students have come from which agencies. That's a quite handy feature. You can set up as many branches as you want, and you can also set up notes associated with every branch. So again, in the preferences, on the note tabs, under organizations, you can set up notes. So we might have notes on COVID info here, and we would set that up. And if I save that, then within organizations now, there is an agreements and a COVID info tab as well. So we can organize our notes for this branch as shown. And that's about it. If you have any questions, please give us a call or email. Thank you.